We are ranking the 10 gaming monitors every player needs to know about for 2026. From legacy screens that actually slow you down, to elite displays built for pure speed. Expect outdated tech, surprising spec sheet traps, and a few hard-learned lessons in what high refresh does not always mean. Which monitor claims the bottom spot? Let's kick off the countdown with number 10. Scepter's E248U19203R sets the bar low for 2026 gaming. This 24-inch 1080p panel delivers just 75Hz refresh rate, capping your frame rate before the match even starts. Input lag measures about 12.5 milliseconds, which can mean the difference between landing a shot and watching a kill cam. HDMI 1.4 and VGA ports look ancient next to today's standards, leaving next-generation consoles out of luck. With peak brightness stuck at 250 nits, glare from a window can wash out the entire screen. For about $80 new, you get a monitor that holds back modern hardware and competitive play alike. It is a hard avoid for any serious setup. Number 9. Korui 24E4 arrives with a spec sheet that tries to impress. 24 inches, 1080p, and 165Hz refresh rate. But the promise of high refresh quickly unravels once you start gaming. Lab tests peg input lag near 9 milliseconds, which is only a minor step up from the Scepter, and still far from what competitive players demand. More troubling are the visual artifacts. Users report color banding across gradients and overshoot halos that trail fast-moving targets, making precise tracking a headache. Even with HDMI 2.0 and DisplayPort 1.2 on board, factory tuning misses the mark. On paper, this looks like a budget-friendly ticket to smooth gameplay, but in practice, the flaws in motion clarity and latency outweigh the headline numbers. For 2026, a high refresh rate means little if the image breaks apart in the heat of action. Samsung's Odyssey G5 lands at number 8, promising deep blacks with its 27-inch curved VA panel and 1440p resolution. On paper, the 165Hz refresh rate and FreeSync Premium should make it a contender, but real-world motion tests tell a different story. Blurbuster's pursuit camera footage reveals heavy smearing whenever dark elements move across the screen, a classic VA weakness that turns fast-paced shooters into a blur fest. Input lag hovers around 8 milliseconds, acceptable for casual play, but a step behind for anyone chasing split-second reactions. No matter how striking the contrast looks in a dimly lit role-playing game, the motion trails in esports titles like Valorant or CS2 are impossible to ignore. For competitive gamers, those deep blacks just cannot make up for the loss in clarity when every frame counts. AOC's 24G2 once ruled the budget gaming scene, but by 2026, its specs are starting to feel outdated. The 24-inch IPS panel delivers solid color accuracy, covering 99% of the sRGB gamut, which is a big reason for its loyal following among entry-level gamers and streamers. At 1080p and 144Hz, it is still capable for casual play, but the industry has moved on to 1440p as the new standard, especially with sharper text and more desktop real estate on offer. Input lag sits around 7 milliseconds, which was competitive a few years ago, but now it lags behind the pack for fast-paced shooters. Ports are basic, HDMI 1.4 and DisplayPort 1.2, leaving out the bandwidth needed for next-generation consoles or high-refresh PC gaming. For buyers hunting a cheap second screen or a used deal, the 24G2 still makes sense. At full price, it is hard to justify when sharper, faster panels crowd the shelves. MSI's MAG274QRF-QD lands at number 6, staking its claim with quantum dot color that covers an impressive 95% of the DCI-P3 gamut. This 27-inch QD IPS monitor delivers 1440p resolution and a 170Hz refresh rate, giving both creators and gamers a solid workspace for editing and fast-paced action. Input lag sits at about 6 milliseconds, quick enough for most, though not quite at esports level. USB-C support adds a welcome touch for laptop users juggling between work and play. Still, the HDR400 badge tells a less exciting story. Peak brightness hovers around 400 nits, and without true local dimming, highlights lack punch. HDMI 2.0 and DisplayPort 1.4 get the job done for PC, but those wanting next-gen console features will need to look elsewhere. It is a well-rounded mid-tier pick, especially for anyone who values wide color and a flexible setup. But the limitations in HDR and port future-proofing keep it from breaking into the top 5. The Gigabyte M27Q earns its mid-tier spot by blending solid gaming specs with a rare productivity advantage. This 27-inch 1440p IPS panel runs at 170 Hz and keeps input lag around 6 milliseconds. Quick enough for most players, though not in the top esports bracket. What stands out is the built-in USB Type-C KVM switch, letting users toggle between a gaming PC and a work laptop with a single keyboard and mouse, all through one monitor. For anyone running a dual-system desk, it is a huge convenience that streamlines daily workflow. Connectivity covers HDMI 2.0, DisplayPort 1.4, and USB Type-C, checking the boxes for most modern setups. The panel's BGR subpixel layout can make text look a bit off in some apps, but for gaming and general use it is rarely a deal breaker. HDR 400 support is basic, peaking near 350 nits, so do not expect cinematic highlights. Still, for hybrid users who want both gaming speed and desk-friendly features, the M27Q delivers more flexibility than most in its class. BenQ's Mobius X2710Q stands out in the mid-tier for its focus on multimedia and streaming convenience. This 27-inch IPS panel runs at 1440p at 165 Hz, covering nearly the full sRGB spectrum and most of DCI-P3, so colors pop whether you are gaming or editing video. What sets it apart is the built-in speaker system, rare among gaming monitors in this class. It actually delivers clear dialogue and decent bass for casual streams or background music. HDRI processing aims to boost visuals with dynamic contrast and color adjustments, but with a peak brightness of 400 nits and no local dimming, the effect is more subtle than cinematic. Input lag measures around 7 milliseconds, a touch slower than the top picks. Fine for casual play and streaming, but not the first choice for competitive first-person shooter fans. HDMI 2.0, DisplayPort 1.4, and USB-C round out the ports, making it easy to hook up consoles, laptops, or a streaming rig. For creators or streamers who want one screen to do it all, with decent sound and punchy color, it is a strong package. But if your priority is split-second reaction time, the EX2710Q's feature set trades a bit of speed for versatility. LG's UltraGear 27GP H50 opens the elite tier with a formula that's hard to beat for most gamers and creators. The 27-inch Nano IPS panel delivers crisp 1440p visuals and a color gamut wide enough for both pro-level editing and immersive play, covering about 95% of DCI-P3. What sets it apart is the ability to overclock the refresh rate from 165 Hz up to 180 Hz, giving a real edge in fast-paced shooters without sacrificing image quality. Latency sits near 5 milliseconds, keeping input delay well below the threshold where it could cost you a round. The monitor holds its own in motion tests, with overdrive modes that avoid the overshoot halos common in cheaper IPS options. DisplayPort 1.4 and HDMI 2.0 handle PC gaming with ease, but the lack of HDMI 2.1 means next-generation consoles will not reach their full potential here. HDR 400 support is present, but with peak brightness around 400 nits and no local dimming, the effect is subtle compared to true HDR displays. For anyone seeking a safe, all-purpose pick, one that balances speed, color, and reliability, the 27GP850 stands out, even as OLED and QD OLED panels push the boundaries further up the leaderboard. Number 2. The Dell S2722 DGM holds its ground as a top pick for mixed-use gamers who want both deep contrast and reliable build quality. The 27-inch curved VA panel brings 1440p clarity and a native 165 Hz refresh rate, making it a strong fit for both immersive single-player titles and fast-paced online matches. Where this Dell really stands out is its factory calibration. Measured delta E values under two mean colors are accurate right out of the box, a rare find in this price range. Quality control is a step above the mid-tier crowd, with consistent panel uniformity and a sturdy, adjustable stand that does not wobble under pressure. Contrast ratios approach 3000 to 1, giving dark scenes real depth and punch compared to IPS rivals, especially in games with moody lighting. Input lag is measured at around 5 milliseconds, which keeps most players competitive, though the VA panel's response times cannot quite match the blur-free motion of the Speed King at number 1. For those who split time between gaming and media, the S2722 DGM's balance of accuracy, contrast, and build makes it a standout, only edged out for pure esports by the final entry. Asus ROG Swift PG279QM stands at the top, setting the benchmark for esports performance in 2026. This 27-inch fast IPS display pushes a native 1440p resolution with a blistering 240Hz refresh rate, delivering motion clarity that few can rival. Lab-tested input lag hovers around 4.2 milliseconds, fast enough that every click and flick feels instantaneous, even in the most demanding titles. Hardware G-Sync support ensures variable refresh rates stay rock solid, eliminating stutter and tearing without adding the micro-lag seen in budget adaptive sync solutions. HDR 600 certification brings peak brightness close to 600 nits, making highlights pop in games that support true HDR, while the wide color gamut covers nearly the entire DCI P3 spectrum for rich, lifelike images. Connectivity is future-ready, with DisplayPort 1.4, HDMI 2.0, and a built-in USB hub for streamlined setups. The premium build quality extends to its ergonomic stand and advanced on-screen controls, making fine-tuning refresh, overdrive, or color modes effortless. While the price lands firmly in the flagship tier, the PG279QM's near instant response and flawless motion tracking make it the undisputed choice for players who demand every competitive edge. For those chasing the fastest reaction times and the cleanest visuals, this is the monitor that defines the top of the leaderboard. Across all 10 monitors, one pattern stands out. Specs alone do not guarantee a great gaming experience. The gap between hype and real performance is wider than ever. In 2026, knowing what to avoid is as crucial as knowing what to buy. Choose wisely and game smarter. And with that, we've come to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that subscribe button. See ya.